The way you keep connection and culture in a hybrid or a remote environment, I think there's several things that you got to do. First of all, one of my absolute golden rules is when we are on virtually, cameras have to be on. I mean, it's a non-negotiable. We know that the majority of communication happens non-verbally, and most of that happens in the face. And so we've got to have cameras on. Otherwise, we lose so much of the information. I was actually just in a meeting moments ago where a lady who was struggling turned her camera off. And she turned it off very intentionally because she was having a really tough time. And had she left it on, we would have been able to be in it with her. But it was a way of disengaging. And so we've got to have cameras on to keep connection and to keep the culture and to grow that. So I think if you have an intact team, you definitely want to establish that as a norm going forward. The other thing is, I think you want to make space in your meetings to have a little bit of connection time at the beginning, right? There's no more water cooler talk when you're virtual. And so you've got to create water cooler talk time. And it's hard to just call somebody up and say, hey, let's water cool talk. Let's just talk around the water cooler. But what you can do is create space in your existing meetings. Another thing I would say is you definitely want to have some frequency of getting together one-on-one with your team. And so if you don't do one-on-ones, I would highly encourage you to schedule one-on-ones with your team so that you have more connection time with them on an individual basis, in addition to your team meetings. And then the last thing I would say around how do you keep culture and connection in a hybrid or remote environment, and I would say is you've got to find some frequency to bring the team back together physically. And I'm not going to give you any guidelines on what that is because I think every team is different, but at some point on some frequency with intentionality, I think you need to bring your teams together with the sole intention of building that bond between each other. It makes everything else work well or work better than if you don't do it. So those are the things I would say that are going to help your team keep their culture and keep connection in a hybrid and a remote environment.